It had prominent claws, it had a long serpentine body.
We have to consider the possibility dragon legends could be based on some type of extraordinary and perhaps unknown animal.
Whatever this animal is, it's huge.
There are tons of adorable animals out there, but don't forget about the creepy and less known ones that are also roaming around. Check out these creepiest creatures ever caught on camera. 1. Hagfish.
Planet. What I've got in my hand here, this hagfish, is actually what could be called a living fossil, because in terms of body plan, this creature has remained pretty well unchanged for something like 300 to 500 million years.
Some might call hagfish gross or creepy, but they're actually pretty cool. These ancient creatures have been around for 300 million years and are basically like the ocean's cleanup crew. Hagfish, also known as slime eels or snot snakes, aren't eels or snakes at all. They're fish in a unique group called cyclostomes, or jawless fish, alongside their equally weird cousins, the lampreys. There are 76 species of hagfish, all living in salt water. They can be found anywhere from shallow waters to depths of 1,700 meters. The biggest one, Eptotretus goliath, can grow over 1 meter long, while some smaller species are just a few centimeters. Hagfish don't have true eyes, but instead have light-sensing spots. They navigate and find food using ultra-sensitive barbels, whisker-like feelers, around their mouths and an incredible sense of smell, which takes up most of their brain power. 2. Sea squirt. Sea squirts get their name because they squirt out water when taken out of the ocean. They might look like squishy blobs, but they're actually more closely related to humans than you might think. Sea squirts have a spine, making them part of the chordata group, which includes animals with a spinal cord and gill slits at some stage, everything from fish to us humans. When they're young, sea squirts look like tiny tadpoles with all these features. But after about 24 hours, they stick to a hard surface, like a rock, and start changing. During this transformation, they absorb their tail, spine, and nerves, turning into the sea squirt blobs we see. Sea squirts also have both male and female organs, but can't fertilize themselves. 3. Barreleye. Deep in the ocean's twilight zone, about 600 to 800 meters down, lives a fish with some really weird eyes. Known as the barreleye fish, this fish has transparent heads and bright green eyes that look like emeralds. These eyes are huge and sit on long, silver tubes, making them look like they're peering through special lenses. The green color, actually from a yellow pigment, acts like sunglasses to help the fish spot its prey. Since it's so dark down there, and many animals have glowing bellies to hide their outlines, barreleyes use their special eyes to see through the darkness and find their food. According to Bruce Robertson, a deep-sea biologist, these fish can tell the difference between regular sunlight and bioluminescence. Their super-sensitive eyes help them spot prey, trying to blend in with the dim light. 4. Vampire squid. Despite its name, it's not actually a squid at all. It's a one-of-a-kind creature in its own special group called Vampiroteuthidae. When this creature was first discovered in 1903, scientists thought it was a kind of octopus because it has webbed arms and fins on its body. But after a closer look in the 1940s and 1950s, they realized it wasn't a squid or an octopus. In fact, it has the biggest eyes, in proportion to its body size, of any animal. This unique feature helped scientists figure out it was its own separate group. 5. Tipotini velvet worm. This is the Tipotini velvet worm. While it might look like a cute and cuddly creature, don't be fooled. This worm has a clever and sticky way of catching its food. It sprays a gooey substance to trap unsuspecting prey. Velvet worms, or onychophorans, are among the few invertebrates that can actually be called cute without a lot of debate. The name Tiputini is a nod to the Tiputini Biodiversity Station, where these worms were discovered. The name Tiputini velvet worm is already starting to become popular. These fascinating creatures have many legs but lack the hard outer shell of arthropods, which they're closely related to. Instead, they look like soft, squishy millipedes and live in warm, humid forests. They're a bit like nature's little fuzzy critters, and their unique way of catching prey adds to their charm. 6. Tongue-eating louse. The ocean is full of some crazy creatures, but none are as bizarre as the tongue-eating louse. The name says it all. This creepy parasite survives by eating other animals' tongues. Good news for us humans, it doesn't bother people. But for fish like the Atlantic croaker, it's a real problem. According to a recent post by Galveston Island State Park in Texas, this parasite detaches the fish's tongue, attaches itself to the fish's mouth, and becomes the new tongue. It then munches on the fish's mucus. It's the only parasite known to actually replace an organ in its host. Some folks have spotted these tongue-eating lice on fish in the Gulf of Mexico for years. They're also commonly found in sea trout and various snapper species, according to Mark Fisher from the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. These isopods are related to pill bugs, the little bugs you might find in your yard. In fact, some other parasites in the same genus do similar things. Menhaden fish get their tongues replaced so often by these isopods that they've earned the nickname bug mouths. Snapper frequently have this problem too, which has led to the isopod being called the snapper choking isopod. 7. Snowflake eel. If you're thinking about adding an eel to your saltwater aquarium, the snowflake moray eel might be the perfect choice for you. These eels can grow up to 2 feet long in a tank and are known for their knack for escaping, so you'll need a big tank with a secure lid to keep them in. Also called the clouded, starry, or floral moray eel. The snowflake moray is active at night and hides in reef or rock crevices during the day. Its body is a cool mix of white and yellow with black and yellow spots, making it look like snowflakes, stars, or flowers. This eel has a long, thin body, a dorsal fin running along its back, a small head with tiny eyes, and a thick neck. 8. Shoebill stork. The shoebill stork can grow up to 5 feet tall and sports a huge, sharp beak that's about a foot long, one of the biggest bird beaks in the world. This bird is a serious hunter. It stands perfectly still, then suddenly lunges to catch its prey with that massive bill and swallows it whole. According to a 2015 study, catfish are its favorite food, making up about 71% of its diet. But shoebills also eat eels, snakes, and even baby crocodiles. Shoebills are usually alone, but when they do breed, they're monogamous and lay up to 3 eggs. However, sibling rivalry means usually only one chick makes it to adulthood. The firstborn is usually bigger and more aggressive, sometimes even killing its younger siblings or hogging all the food. 9. Blobfish. When you think of the ugliest creature, you might picture the blobfish, a pale pink, with a sad face and a big droopy nose. Blobfish look pretty strange underwater, where they have a tadpole-like shape, with a big head, large jaws, a pointed tail, and feathery fins. Instead of scales, they have loose, flabby skin and rely on water pressure to keep their shape since they don't have strong bones or thick muscles. That's why they turn into a mushy mess when brought up to the surface. Named the world's ugliest animal in 2013, the blobfish became famous with memes, songs, and even toys made in its honor. But according to scientist Richard Arnott, the blobfish's bad reputation is unfair. It only looks like a sad pink lump when it's pulled from its deep-sea home and suffers from damage due to the sudden change in pressure in its natural habitat. 10. Goliath bird-eating tarantula. But usually, these giant spiders stick to other kinds of prey. So just how big are these spiders? The Goliath bird-eating tarantula is truly massive. Its leg span can reach up to 12 inches, and it can weigh as much as 6 ounces. The body itself can grow up to 4 inches long. They're mostly a tan to light brown color with a bit of golden hues. These spiders live in swampy or marshy areas in the rainforests of northern South America, including places like Venezuela, northern Brazil, Guyana, French Guiana, and Suriname. Even though they're giant, they're not really dangerous to humans. Their venom can hurt small animals, but it's not deadly to us. If they feel threatened, they might bite or make a hissing noise to warn you off, but they usually just try to scare you away rather than attacking. 11. Lowland streaked tenrec. The streaked tenrec is one of those unique animals that can only be found in Madagascar, making it extra special. Among the 31 different tenrec species, this one is the most unique. Even though it looks like it has spines similar to a hedgehog, it's not actually related to hedgehogs. Its spines are more like bristly fur, with spiky bits sticking out on its back, neck, and head. This particular tenrec, known as the lowland streaked tenrec, has a cool yellow and black striped fur pattern. You'll find it only on Madagascar's east coast, where it lives in rainforests, and even in small forest patches near rice fields, sometimes even near human settlements. It lives between the Andringitra Mountains in the south and the Marojejy and Anjanahariby South National Parks in the north. With its big hands and feet, the streaked tenrec digs narrow burrows underground, just wide enough for itself to sleep in. It covers the entrance with grasses and plants and uses plant parts to make its bed. It even digs a little toilet area in front of the burrow entrance to keep its sleeping space clean. To stay safe from predators, it moves to a new burrow every couple of weeks. 12. Siphonophore. This is the siphonophore, the longest animal in the world. Yes, even longer than a blue whale. While blue whales max out at about 98 feet, siphonophores can stretch to an incredible 150 feet. This particular one was discovered in 2020 during a deep-sea expedition by the Schmidt Ocean Institute. But don't let its impressive length fool you. It's closely related to the Portuguese man-o-war and has deadly, stinging tentacles. 13. Goblin shark. Goblin sharks are pretty mysterious creatures, but let's just say they're not winning any beauty contests. While most sharks aren't exactly known for their charm, goblin sharks are in a league of their own when it comes to looking unusual. Their scientific name is Mitsukurina austoni, but they got their common name because their appearance is, well, quite memorable. Despite their spooky look, goblin sharks aren't dangerous to humans. They usually hang out in deep waters where people don't venture, so you won't run into one easily. So, what makes goblin sharks look so strange? They have tiny, beady eyes and a really flat snout. Their long, pointy nose makes their face look even more peculiar, like their mouth hasn't quite kept up with the rest of their face. They also have 3 rows of needle-like teeth on both the top and bottom of their mouth. Their jaws can move in and out thanks to special ligaments, making them look like they're always ready to snap up some food. 14. Northern short-tailed shrew. Northern short-tailed shrews are a small, secretive animal native to parts of North America. You can find them from southern Saskatchewan and Nova Scotia in Canada all the way down to central Nebraska and Georgia in the US. These shrews are pretty adaptable and can live in a variety of places, but they really thrive in damp, brushy areas like woodlands, bogs, and marshes. They also like weedy spots around fields, gardens, and even along country roads. In the winter, they often head to barns, cellars, and sheds for shelter. They don't need much, just enough cover from the vegetation. They're slow to move back into areas that have been burned, though. Northern short-tailed shrews build complex networks of tunnels under leaves, dirt, and snow, and they make their nests in these tunnels or under logs and rocks. They're pretty small, with a body length of 75 to 105 mm and a tail length of 17 to 30 mm. Males are usually a bit bigger than females, especially in the skull area. Their fur is soft and velvety, mostly slate gray, with slightly paler underparts. In the summer, their fur is a bit lighter than in the winter. 15. Ghost shark. Scientists found a new species of ghost shark in the Andaman Sea off Thailand, and it's pretty crazy looking. Named ghost shark or chimera, this deep-sea fish has a huge head, giant, shiny eyes, and feathery fins. Ghost sharks, also known as ratfish, are ancient relatives of sharks and rays. They live in the deep sea, usually more than 1,740 feet underwater. These elusive fish hang out in dark waters and eat bottom-dwelling creatures like crustaceans, mollusks, and worms. This new species was discovered in 2018 during a deep-sea survey. Scientists found it in a bottom trawl at depths between 2,533 and 2,543 feet. The fish was dead and immature, but it was clearly different from others because of its huge head and short snout, and its large oval eyes. 16. Great Potu. Meet the great potu, one of the weirdest birds you'll ever come across. This tropical oddball has huge eyes like ping pong balls and a mouth that's way too big. The great potu stands up to 60 centimeters tall with a wingspan of over 70 centimeters, making it the largest bird in its group, which also includes nightjars and frogmouths. It's a night owl through and through, with big eyes that help it see well in the dark. Its eyelids even have special slits that let it sense movement, so it can detect predators even while it's snoozing. You'll find these birds in South and Central America, where they've mastered the art of blending in. During the day, they sit perfectly still on branches, looking just like a tree stump thanks to their mottled feathers. 17. Sea pig. Sea pigs are probably some of the strangest creatures you'll ever see. They look like sea cucumbers with really weird chubby pink bodies. Despite being pretty common, you probably won't spot one because they live deep underwater at depths between 1,200 and 5,000 meters. That's more than 3 miles down. What's really weird about sea pigs is how they move. They use special tube-like legs that they can pump up and down with water, kind of like a hydraulic system. This lets them shuffle along the sea floor and stir up the mud. As they move, they release bits of dead plants and animals from the mud, which they then munch on. 18. Amphipod. Amphipods are tiny, shrimp-like creatures that live all over the place, from the deep sea to lakes, rivers, beaches, caves, and even damp spots on tropical islands. They can be found as deep as 30,000 feet underwater. Freshwater and beach amphipods are often called scuds or sand fleas. There are around 6,000 different species of these critters. Amphipods are super common, especially along rocky coastlines, where you might find more than 10,000 of them in just 1 square meter. They look a lot like tiny shrimp and are an important food source for fish, birds, penguins, and other animals. They also help clean up dead stuff in their environments. They vary in size from just over 0.04 inches to about 5.5 inches long, with most in temperate areas being around 0.16 to 0.4 inches long. Many are brightly colored in shades like red, pink, yellow, green, or blue. 19. Thistledown velvet ant. This is the velvet ant, a creature with a bit of an identity crisis. Despite its name, this critter isn't an ant at all. It's actually a parasitic wasp from the deserts of the American Southwest. The female velvet ants are covered in fluffy white fuzz and don't have wings, making them look a lot like ants. Males, on the other hand, are winged and sport the classic black and orange wasp colors. This bright coloring is a warning to predators that these wasps are not to be messed with, as they have one of the longest stingers compared to their body size. The female's fuzzy look puzzled scientists for a while. They thought it was camouflage to blend in with the white, fluffy seeds of creosote bushes where they live. 20. Star-nosed mole. The star-nosed mole is like the geologist of the animal world with its super-sensitive nose. It's got 25,000 tiny sensors on its nose that help it feel vibrations in the ground. This mole is the only one that lives in swamps and marshes and might even sense faint electrical signals from underwater prey. It can smell underwater by blowing air bubbles and then sucking them back in, one of only 2 animals that can do this. It's also one of the fastest eaters around, gulping down its food in less than a quarter of a second. Pretty impressive. 21. Pacu. In 2023, 11-year-old Charlie Clinton from Oklahoma made news when he caught a pacu, a super creepy fish from South America with teeth that look a lot like human teeth, in a pond behind his house, way out of its usual Amazon home. Charlie released the fish back into the pond, but it turns out this wasn't the best idea. The Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation warns against letting non-native species loose because they can mess up local ecosystems. They now suggest keeping pacus if you catch one to avoid problems. 22. Viperfish. The viperfish is one of the weirdest and most famous deep-sea fish. With its big mouth and long, sharp teeth that curve back towards its eyes, it looks pretty intimidating. These fangs are so long they don't even fit inside its mouth. The viperfish uses these teeth to stab its prey by darting at them quickly. It also has a cool feature, a light-producing organ on the end of a long spine on its back. This light, called a photophore, helps the viperfish attract smaller fish, kind of like a fishing lure. It can flash this light on and off to lure its dinner. 23. Pink river dolphin. In the waters of the Amazon River, you might spot a splash of pink darting around tree roots. Those are the boto, or Amazon river dolphin. These dolphins have a unique pink color because their capillaries are close to their skin's surface. Botos are pretty playful and often interact with boats from local fishermen and researchers, just like their saltwater relatives. But they do look a bit funny with their bumpy heads, small eyes, and long smiling snouts. They're the biggest of the 5 freshwater dolphin species and can grow up to about 8 feet long. While they can see a bit, these dolphins mostly use echolocation to get around in the murky water. They send out clicks through a big bulbous part on their heads called a melon, which helps them hear the echoes bounce back and find their way. They can click 30 to 80 times per second to find food. Botos eat a variety of fish, at least 53 different types, and their jaws are lined with 25 to 28 pairs of teeth, perfect for breaking turtle shells and crabs. They also make whistling sounds to talk to each other. You'll usually see them in pairs or small groups, but sometimes they gather in pods of up to 37 dolphins. 24. Japanese spider crab. Japanese spider crabs might look like they're ready to eat you up, but they're actually pretty gentle giants. These crabs are the largest crustaceans out there. Of the 60,000 crustacean species on Earth, they have the biggest size, reaching up to 12.5 feet from one claw to the other. They're also one of the largest arthropods, which are animals with no backbone and lots of jointed legs. In the case of the spider crab, that means 10 legs. You can find them on the Pacific side of Japan, all the way down to Taiwan, living in depths ranging from about 164 feet to 1,640 feet. They like cool water, around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and they spawn in the shallower waters. Their orange and white bodies and cream-colored undersides blend in with the rocks on the ocean floor. With their round shells and long legs, they do have a bit of a spider-like look, which is where they get their name. The males are bigger and have larger claws, while the females have wider bellies to carry their eggs. They also have spines around their short eye stalks. 25. Sarcastic fringehead. The sarcastic fringehead is a fish with a name that says it all. Found in the coastal waters of California and Baja California, this fish is as bold as its name suggests. Sarcastic fringeheads love hanging out in all sorts of hiding spots on the ocean floor, like burrows, empty shells, or even old plastic bottles. When it comes to defending their territory, they don't use words. Well, they don't actually talk. Instead, they face off by clashing their big mouths together. Their mouths are something to see, with jawbones that spread out sideways and cheek membranes that look like sails. Their mouths are a mix of purple, yellow, and sharp teeth, giving them a look that's part fish and part monster from a sci-fi show. These fish engage in a sort of who's got the biggest mouth contest. The winner gets the best den and a chance to mate. After the female lays thousands of eggs in their shared home, the male guards them fiercely, using his big mouth to ward off any threats. The name fringehead comes from the floppy tissue that covers the fish's eyes, and sarcastic might either hint at its grumpy look or come from a Greek word meaning to tear flesh. But the only thing this fish tears is its food with its sharp teeth. Which one of these animals did you find the creepiest? Do you think there are more creepy beings on Earth that haven't been caught on camera yet?